Morning with Max. Good morning, folks, and welcome to another Morning with Max. If you don't know me, I am Max Porter. I am the writer, editor, lore keeper, board game designer, stream host, and various other things here at City State Entertainment, where we are working on the MMORPG Camelot Unchained. And good morning, Lonoween and Brand. I think you two know who I am. Mysterious advertising matrix of Twitch. Lonoween, you feeling tired this morning? Haven't had your coffee yet? Denarian, happy Monday to you. Taladar, what's the shirt? I'll show you. One of my absolute favorite things in the world. The Incredibles. Good movie, and I liked The Incredibles 2 really a lot as well. I thought it was worth waiting a decade for. Was it that long between Incredibles 1 and 2, Lonoween? Yes, it was. I think so. The movie picks up immediately in the story. But yeah, I think it was over 10 years, like maybe 13 years. Long time. Taladar, my kids were barely old enough to really enjoy 1. They were about the age of the kids by number 2. Oh, well, I don't know. It was a long time. But that is the shirt I'm wearing this morning. For my birthday, my wife got me a bunch of new shirts with cool stuff on them. This one's both comfortable and has a cool thing on it, so. Saw Incredibles 2 twice so far. Once in theaters, of course, and once when it came out on Netflix. An exciting day. You trying to draw us into that discussion, Lonoween? I don't know. That's involved. Brand, have you seen Captain Marvel yet? I have not. Have you? I've got nothing against it. It's just like it's not like a superhero that I was into prior to, previously. So it's not like I feel this burning need. Paladin Brewer, good morning, Maximus Lorist or something. I'm tired. Right. Well, I guess is it the time change getting you, Paladin Brewer? Good morning, Denarian. The Lormax. That's pretty good. Oh man. Lormax. To me, it sounds like a Dr. Seuss character for some reason. Yeah, the Lorax. Think of the trees or save the trees. What does he say? What's his phrase? I speak for the trees, right? That's what he says. Hoists himself by the seat of his pants and flies away. Paladin Brewer. Ironically? How is that ironic? The Lorax is clearly a TDDer, which means Max has two true facts. How is that ironic? I don't see the irony. You're just making a claim. Halloween, wow, all the peeps are showing up this morning. Not nearly as impacted by the time change as I thought. Well, thank you all for joining me. Yomi reminds me of a meme about him. Good morning, Yomi. I'm the Lorax that speak for the trees. They oh, Yomi. Yomi, do anything fun this weekend, Max? Aside from losing an hour of sleep, which I guess isn't fun, but it's something. I lost more than that. The joys of being a new father. I played. I ran 2 RPG sessions, and they were very fun indeed. Brando 2. Is it still a beta test? If it's during beta 1, but for alpha and IT? That's a pretty good question, I think, Brand. I'm not sure. I guess it is, because it's happening during the beta period. But yeah, there's some confusing definition there. Yomi, perhaps I should have said lose 1 more hour of sleep. Yeah, I guess. Most everything else I did over the weekend was boring grown-up stuff. Not that D&D isn't for grown-ups, but it's not boring. Hopefully. Ludwig, I filed my taxes this weekend. Does that count as fun? I mean, I guess it can be. But probably not. I'm guessing. Yomi, on that note, Chris, I like to run D&D campaigns. When creating the world your players are in, do you prefer the build-out or build-in approach? If you've not heard them referred to that way, basically, do you start small and expand out, or the other way around? Both, Yomi. And yeah, I am familiar with that sort of concept. Both. In the sense of, I've tried it both ways. I've created, vast campaign settings with intricate worlds and countries and a gazetteer for the whole dang universe. And then the players, see maybe 10% of that if I'm lucky. But probably not, because they'll get interested in something specific to their game and not pursue anything that has been pre-prepared. And then I've tried it where, starting absolutely build out, starting incredibly small, and then let's just see what happens. And, the players never really feel connected to part of a larger world. Never feel like there's a living, breathing place for them to care about or get invested in one way or another. So you don't have to, but I am doing both, where there's a kind of adumbrated, a sketched out, a couple of large concepts that cover the campaign, whether for a story, from a story perspective, or a setting perspective, or both. And then really all the detailed stuff, the NPCs, major and minor, and locations and adventures build out as we go, because it's an interactive story. It's different from something that I write and then other people read, where there's like a, kind of needs to be more tightly knit in order to focus on a particular premise. So both, Yomi. the build out to justify it being an interactive story, which is how people are going to have fun. Brand, short and to the point stories or long epic campaigns? I mean, long epic campaigns are great, and I've run lots of fun one-shots. At least I had fun, and I think the players had fun. So both. Sometimes short and to the point stories within a long epic campaign can be fun. All depends on where people want to go, what catches their interest. Peary Baby, hi, hope you had a good weekend. Thanks. I had a pretty good weekend, yeah. I hope you had a good one too, Peary Baby. Yomi, do you ever have major events take place in your worlds that happen outside of the player's influence? Sure. but it needs to have some bearing on the players. Because again, otherwise it's just me sitting alone in a room saying, and over here is this war happening. And if it doesn't have any effect whatsoever, I mean, at least it's got to be like a news item, discussed in the tavern or something, causing tension between people who agree with different sides or something. But I think that major events take place in your worlds that happens to other players' influence. I mean, it has to have some bearing on what the players are interested in, or they won't be interested in the events. And again, it's an interactive story. It's not a thing. It shouldn't be it's not necessarily the most fun for everyone when it's a sort of GM pre-written story that then happens. You can play that way, and it can be fun, but it might not be the most fun for everyone. Yomi, but also other interactive worlds as a way to illustrate the arts of this universe you've made, or do you prefer to only have events take place within their sphere of potential influence? I mean, yeah, I think I answered that, Yomi. Tyler, I never played it, just read the book, but Dungeon World seems to be geared toward the balance of freeform with overarching themes. Isn't Dungeon World kind of it's very interesting and cool. It's a little more hack and slash focused, though, isn't it? And Anyax, seriously, when will see you release? Waiting for years already. Yeah, it takes a long time to make a game like this, and we've had delays and stuff, which we've talked about at length. But the current goal, Anyax, is end of this year. Brand, is there a level range you prefer? Yeah. The sweet spot still exists. I think in every RPG of this kind, or every edition of D&D or whatever, it kind of moves around. So I think the sweet spot in 5th edition is somewhere around 2nd through, I'm not sure, some point like before, say, 15th level, when 8th level spells come into play. Maybe a little long, maybe a little farther, maybe a little less than that. I haven't gotten a campaign that runs from level 1 through that high of a level, though, yet, in 5th edition, so I can't say that I know for sure where the sweet spot ends. I just know that it ends somewhere up there in the high levels. When you start playing Rocket Tag. Teledar, based on Savage World, it's more focused on storytelling. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know that much about Dungeon World. I know a little bit about Savage World's system. And I didn't know that Dungeon World was based on it, but I guess that makes sense. Cool, Teledar. That balance of free form with overarching themes. Cool. I think you can do that in a lot of different games. Piri Baby. Darcy of Camelot, there are many places with camps with no NPCs at all that made the product look finished. Will that be the keys to Camelot Unchained? I don't know. There's not there isn't a PvE focus as there was in Dark Age of Camelot. Camelot Unchained is very PvP focused, very RVR. It's all about the RVR. So that kind of thing might be more of a concern in the depths, where there are kind of monster elements, NPC things to fight. But it won't be. You won't level from fighting that stuff. So it's not. That's not a focus. But I think it will be handled to the best of our ability, Peary baby. Wafflies, are you on track for 2019 release? As far as I know, you'd have to ask Mark or Andrew. Brand, when you play start to see where beats the gods when they start crossing one side of the map, the other in 6 seconds on a whim. Yeah. I don't have that much of a problem with teleport. I think it's in D&D, I mean. I think it gets a lot of undeserved hate. My problem with it is not like that they can travel anywhere, because I think I can handle that. And there's, weird magic stuff I can do, but it's like the problem with it is it being a mass escape. It's like then you can get yourselves into trouble and then be like, who cares? Bam. Gone. And when people start relying on that, then it can kind of feel cheap if there's like an unexpected blockage to that. Like, oh, no, your teleport fails. There's a dimensional cage over this tower that you're in, or whatever, dungeon. And that can kind of feel cheap, especially if there wasn't a lot of telegraphing. So that, and then when you need to telegraph everything, that starts piling on the onus on the GM to kind of make things not feel cheap, and it can make a problem because people start relying on that, and it robs the game of a lot of tension, I think. License guys, is there a summary anywhere as what's going on for a KS backer who gave up following a year or two ago? Well, I don't know that there's going to be a summary license guide, like specifically since, your specific, that meets your exact, knowledge, but, you can always catch up in the news. License guy. Oh yeah, the monthly newsletters, Lodoween points out. There you go. Those tend to have a summary of a month, but yeah, a lot has changed since 1 or 2 years ago. Al Ganesh, I don't know if it's an answer somewhere. There's a fixed list of roles for launch will depend on the time you have. It depends a lot on the time we have. But I don't, we don't have like a published list of, I don't think, what you're talking about. Heyo, Hannibal Grimm. Hannibal Grimm, my teleport never fails, Bamf. Yeah, exactly. Yomi, unless the game is meant to feel like a survival style game, I see no issue with having that kind of thing. Okay, yeah, exactly. Oh, that sounds fun, Yomi. Denarian points out you can also catch up by watching the weekly wrap-up streams. Yeah, every Friday afternoon, we have somebody on to read the sort of top 10-ish. It's always, not always, but it's usually more than 10 items. But the top 10-ish highlights of progress from the week. And that kind of makes a nice summary as well. Those are also in the news posts. So hi to Tyler as he passes by. Anyway, I think the newsletters are the quickest way given the amount of info out there. Yeah, and the latest newsletter had a State of the Build in it with the highlights of the highlights from last month, so that can be good to give you a sense of where we're at, what we're doing, what's being worked on. Oh, Yomi, I'm not home to help clean it, which is both a good and a bad thing. Ugh. Yeah. I feel you. Brand, did my answer to your question above make sense to you? Oh no, Yomi. Yeah, we all hope that. Lol 1 2 3 4 5 7. I really need to come up with a shortened version of that name. Maybe I'll just call you LOL. Yeah, we gotta make it happen, LOL. Cool, Brand. Lord Vaco, we'll see you address the RP farming, I think that means realm points, right? That became common in Frontiers of Daeok. Well, it's a somewhat different system. I can't speak to that, the mechanics of how that's kind of being designed to, so that doesn't happen in great detail, Lord Vaco. I just know that that sort of thing has been talked about and is something that is present for the designers of Camelot Unchained, Ben and Mark. So you can ask them for more details about it next time one of them's on stream. But I can say that in Camelot Unchained, everything is focused around RVR. All right. Well, thank you all very, very much for joining me. I had a blast talking with you all. It's been a hopping morning with Max. Don't forget about the time change, folks, as you get going on your week here. I will see you later, probably on Friday morning for another Morning with Max. And, of course, our Friday afternoon end-of-week wrap-up and Q&A stream that we do. You have a great day, too, Peary Baby. You're welcome, Denarian. All right. See you folks later. Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye. Morning with Max.